What determines what should and should not be spontaneous during sex?
If you're ugly, don't even try anything spontaneous.
What's going on YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. So today we're going to be reacting to a video from It's Complicated channel. Make sure you guys go ahead and support them. Title of the video is Modern Dating and Understanding Women. Let's go ahead and get right into this video. So here we go.
When having a first kiss, what is more special to you? If it happens spontaneously in the heat of the moment, or if the guy asks permission first?
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous.
Yeah, spontaneous.
Okay. What does that say about consent?
If you're fine enough.
All right, so what's the deal with this double standard? They want it spontaneous, right? But then they want consent. But then it's okay if, I guess, he's attractive. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. So pretty much what they're trying to say is that if he's cute, you don't need to ask. Just throw it on me and then you're done, right? You're good. But if you're not that attractive, then you're gonna have to ask consent, because I'm not sure if I want to do anything. So.
Isn't that kind of a double standard?
Of course it's a double standard.
Right?
Yeah, of course.
All
but
right.
it's just, that's how women think, honestly. But yeah, we'll see what else they have to say.
Yeah,
but.
fair enough.
Cancel me.
You have to catch.
I didn't
you
mean
have to catch
that.
the vibe. There's a vibe.
Okay, let me ask you this. What determines what should and should not be spontaneous during sex?
If you're ugly, don't even try anything spontaneous.
If you've talked about it at least like before.
They should be able to read the situation, I think, and spontaneous would be the right way to go. I think.
If you ask, it kind of ruins the moment.
Yeah.
It's like, oh,
It
you
makes it a little
asked.
awkward, I feel like.
Yeah.
All right, so what she's saying is if a guy asks, ultimately it would ruin the vibe. But at the same time, if a guy kind of forces himself on you, then he's considered a creep. So for guys that are watching this, how do they know when to just go all in and when to pull back?
It's so confusing. Like, I'm not gonna lie, it's so confusing. So it's touchy because it's never just a one answer, right? It depends. So initially, like if things are going well, okay, let me think about this. If you're on a first date, right, and you're thinking about wanting to kiss her or whatever, afterwards, if she's giving you the signs of, like, you know, she's touching you, maybe she's laughing at your jokes, maybe she's seeming interested and whatnot, then I would say slowly, how do I say this? I would say slowly approach, and then once you're kind of like here, and then if she pulls back, then you'll know, be like, hey, no, this is
but
not
I mean,
it.
what
But
guy wants to go through that awkward right here and then she
listen,
pulls
you're gonna
back?
have to play it off like cool, to be honest. If she but again, if you're not, I know I'm sounding a bit confusing. If you're not feeling the vibe,
Yeah.
then maybe you should give it another date, right? That's, I guess, my opinion.
Another date?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So I got to shell out more money.
Or see her another time. It doesn't have to be another date, but like, let's say if you guys go for, like, let's say first time was like dinner, second time would be like, let's go for a walk, I want to see you. Then from there, once you kind of like you got to know each other a little bit better, then you'll understand a little bit more of like, all right, I think she's feeling me, let me give it a try now. Because for majority of women may not want to give a kiss or anything on the first date, you know? So it's more of like, once she gets more familiar with you, then she'll feel more comfortable, and then she'll be more inclined to want to maybe kiss you.
But I would even challenge you to say this. Some women will have one night stands with some guys.
Yeah, some, but not
And
majority.
then, no, but okay. So what I'm saying is, let's say we're talking about one woman. That same woman could have a one night stand with guy A, but not kiss guy B on that same date that they meet. You know what I mean? So why is it that some guys can sleep with her on the first date while other guys can't even get a kiss?
I don't know. I guess they're saying it's a vibe. So if you create enough of a good vibe, I guess that will get you through the door. Like, I don't know.
If you look at the movie Sleeping Beauty, right? That's a man who kisses a woman who's unconscious. He doesn't ask for her consent, right?
But that was the only way for Sleeping Beauty to be awake.
Okay, all right.
So here we go with the mental gymnastics. So if you're sleeping unconscious, then it's cool. Like, what?
It's a freaking cartoon movie, guys. Like, I don't know. Like, anyways.
Yeah, but women fantasize with these Disney movies. A lot of women will kind of have their viewpoint from a Disney lens.
Yeah.
So now we're picking and choosing when to like.
No,
come
but
on.
the thing is, if you're the knight in shining armor in the movie, then if they see that, then they'll be like, oh, save me, sure, then that's fine, right? If you're good looking enough, then they won't say anything about it. But if you're not that good looking, then it's like, yeah, I don't know about you.
So if you're superior,
goes back to.
buff, strong man, then you're good to go.
I guess for the most part, that's pretty much what I'm getting from what they're saying,
Yeah.
right? So yeah, and also from like the other movies, like I think they romanticize it, right? So in the movies, what you'll usually see is that like the man, let's say on the date, like brings flowers and is maybe very charming and let me think, like makes her laugh, all these things, and then at the end of the day you kind of see him approach her slowly, and then all of a sudden it's just a kiss, right? So there's game within that. It's not just like he's just gonna kiss her and then, you know what I mean, it's not awkward. There's there's a flow to it, I guess. So
Yeah, so what we're gathering from this video so far, different rules go for different guys. If you're a good-looking guy, all rules are broken. If you're average and below, then it's considered creepy.
anyways, I don't agree with any of this, by the way, just as a heads up. I'm just trying to dissect what they're trying to say.
Yeah.
But honestly, you would avoid so many of these problems if you just waited until you were really like, just before you do anything like sexual with someone, just wait until you know them well enough, and then you don't really have to worry as much about like.
Yeah, but the thing
you
is,
just talk about it and it's fine.
The thing is, if you're a guy and you wait too long, she may just friend zone you because she may think that you're not interested in her. So let's say we're going on 2, 3, 4 dates and I'm kind of timid, I'm not sure, and you're a woman where you're like, I'm not making the first move, and the guy's just kind of timid, like he doesn't know if he should, kind of move in. After a certain time, you're going to get friend zoned, and it's actually going to be counterproductive if you don't move in and be assertive. So there's a thin line between being assertive and consent. But I think for the most part, especially in my experience, women want a guy that's just going to go for it. That's not going to ask for consent and like, hey, can I kiss you? Like, that's just weird.
Okay.
But let's go ahead and continue. Let's see what else they say.
Determines what should and should not be spontaneous during sex.
Consent. Literally, like, just asking for consent all the time.
Okay,
I
so
think-
so every time a guy like puts his hand somewhere, he needs to ask permission for it.
I think that...
Or just ask if you're comfortable with it.
yeah, it's all
Are you
about...
comfortable with me, putting my hands on your waist or something like
And
that?
checking in. I think that checking in, you don't necessarily have to ask every single time, but just checking in and making sure that the person is comfortable with what's going on is like a really big deal.
Can I touch your hair? Can I touch your hair? Can I touch your
This
hair?
is
Can I touch your hair?
exhausting, though.
Like,
That's so
who does that?
exhausting. Imagine if, like, I can only imagine being a guy being like, is it okay if I hold your hand? Or is it okay if I, like,
That's
I don't-
that's
nah,
going to be
that's too
considered
much.
weakness to a lot of women. Like he can't
because
just
it's not assertive.
he
like,
can't
you're
just
not.
do it. Like he has to ask for permission. You know what I mean?
This is, no, but again, this is why it goes back to, like, if I know I'm interested and I voice that I'm interested in you, right? Like, I think that's the key thing is just, like, does she say that she's like, I really like you, or I'm
How
very
many
interested
women
in you.
do that though? How many women say I really like you?
I guess it doesn't happen very often. I say it,
It
like,
doesn't-
if I'm feeling it.
More and more guys are just simply confused. They have no idea what women want. They have
Yeah.
no idea how to attract women. And they're thinking that, hey, I'm going to be this overly nice guy. Meanwhile, for most women, they're just simply repulsed by that. But let's go ahead and continue.
Is consent something that can be withdrawn once it's given?
Yes, I think so.
I don't know.
All right, so you have these scenarios where a woman will meet a guy after the club, do her thing, wake up the next day, and say to herself, I've made a mistake. So she's basically giving consent after the club, and then the next day she's taking it back. And you have these scenarios where guys are accused of X, and ultimately they're in trouble. So let me ask you this. How do you think a guy would kind of maneuver that scenario?
Yeah, so what I would say for guys is to make sure that she's coherent, right? Like that she's sober, that she knows what she's saying, so it's not going to be any confusion afterwards, right? So if you have this conversation now, she understood and it was clear, right? And then later on, you're not going to have to deal with that as many problems, right? Because you're dealing with it head on before anything. But if she's, if she's drunk or if she's under any influence, then the next day she may think otherwise.
Yeah.
So you don't want to put yourself in that kind of situation. So it's better off taking the L, honestly. Just take the L. If she's really like,
or just call her the next day, maybe.
Yeah, and then you can kind of schedule something like to meet with her another time or whatever when she's more like in her right mind, I guess.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's just my
that would be
opinion.
the safe way. But obviously, you're in the club, testosterone's going, like you just kind of want to get it in, but
it's a risk. That's all I'm going to say.
It is a risk, and if you do it with the wrong woman, there's going to be consequences to that, right?
Yeah, exactly.
If a guy gives you an engagement ring and he calls off the engagement, should you give the ring back?
No, hell no. It's my ring.
Okay, so why is it if a man withdraws consent to an engagement, he loses the ring?
I mean, I don't think women are objects like rings are.
It always kills me whenever I hear those stories about women being like, oh yeah, like even though he proposed and we're not together anymore, I still kept the ring.
I still kept the ring.
Are you well?
If a man consents to sex, does that mean he's consenting to potentially becoming a father?
Well, if he was smart, he would use all the protection and he would do everything in his power to not be the father.
Right.
I think if it happens, it's a consequence of him making the decision of having sex.
Okay. If a woman consents to sex, does that mean she's consenting to potentially becoming a mother?
I think it's the same thing.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
If you're doing it, there's a risk of it.
Yeah.
If you take every precaution, you can, and whatever happens, happens.
So why is the man often blamed for getting a woman pregnant, aka knocking her up, when it actually takes two people?
That's tough.
I think it's just another stereotype.
Yeah, I agree.
If you're having sex without a condom and something happens, like it's both of your faults, right? Like if someone doesn't speak up here, yeah, it's both of your faults now. So
yeah,
it's not just on one person.
I would more put the responsibility on a woman, because a woman has the capability to say yes or to say no. If she simply says no, then no sex happens, right? So the fact that a woman is, opening her legs and allowing whoever into her to ultimately insert and do his thing, I mean, her body, her choice, right? So
okay, no, I agree with that point. It is, the onus would be more on the women, just because they're the ones who have like
the say.
Yeah, and there's more that she has to go through, I guess, if something bad happens. So she should be more cautious.
Yeah.
So, because my body is the one who's producing a child here. Like, if worse
9
comes
months,
to worse.
yep.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Fair enough. All right, guys. So we're going to go ahead and end this video. If you like this video, make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time.
Bye, guys.